And, my journey now is focusing on the advocacy and the education and the master classes that will be introduced this fall with the Natural Hairstyle and Braid Coalition to educate from our work in legislation, in getting the license uplifted and elevated, as well as getting more centers, testing centers, as well as a natural hairstyling schools, and just awareness that many cosmetologists don't have to go to cosmetology school to style natural hair. And that is what has been happening over the last, 30, 40 years, is that we would go to cosmetology school and we wouldn't learn anything, but our specialty would be in texture, right? So when we talk about how has it evolved as a stylist, from working in texture and evolving in texture to creating master pioneers and experts who are now the ones who are educating stylists, there still is that gap of non-education, formal education from the beginning of understanding. So many of the stylists now are still self-taught, and they run with that because they don't want a mentor. They don't want to work in salons where they can get the formal training to go out into the world and be equipped, from the beginning. And then there's just so much trial and error going on all over, the natural hair industry, because everybody is YouTube taught, self-taught, and no real unification of the techniques. And not to say that there's only one technique. However, there is one foundation. If you know how to do these certain, like basic things like parting the hair for different styles. If you learn that, you can do anything. It's like painting. You have a canvas. You have to know how to do the brush strokes and how to create the shadowing. It's not a mystery. There are rules and procedures to make it easier to get from A to B, right?
No, and this is so critical because for people who are listening, wondering why you need a coalition, I think that Diane is just basically, even though you haven't heard everything that they're doing, made such great points about the challenges the natural hair industry is facing in terms of gaps in education and access, access and some kind of uniformity.
And there's a lot of deregulation going on, and that even if there is the access, they're trying to deregulate it all over the country.
But and I'm probably going to ask this for every episode, how do people support the coalition and join it?
Well, yes, we have a website. It's the NHBcoalition.org, and our IG page is the_NHBC. You can go there and follow our links to join the coalition, as well as support membership and take our surveys. We have a professional survey and a consumer survey because, there's no statistics gathered about natural hair stylists, textured hair experts, natural hair salons, Black-owned salons that are texture-driven. There's nothing in statistics or labor statistics. It's only cosmetology. There's no real statistics around how influential in the $8 billion industry that we have created, the statistics are lacking. So we have created surveys to gather this information so that we have the numbers to go and advocate for everything that we want. Because our
Yes.
goal is to empower our community in natural hair care and texture, the whole texture industry. Because the thing is this, texture and natural hair is not two separate things. Without natural hair, there will be no identification of texture, right?
Ah,
Natural hair is what we are all born with, whether you have straight hair or afro coily hair. It's all natural. We go to a category of now identifying what texture is over here, and now you are a textured expert versus a natural hair stylist.
right.
But all natural hair stylists are textured experts,
This is really
right?
important stuff. This is so important.
So there's not one or the other. But in our industry, it has been separated because cosmetologists have to identify themselves in the cosmetology space
Right.
now. Texture has to be, it's a buzzword now. And so we have that. We have a separation of the culture, and it's all really a circle. It's all really a circle. It starts with natural hair, and then you have textured experts, and you have natural hair stylists, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
a circle. It's not separate. It's not
Right.
linear. It's
It's a continuum.
360 degrees.
Right.
And we are here to unify the industry to understand that there is no difference of what natural hair and texture is. It is how you implement it
Right.
and
Right.
how you want to specialize in it. Obviously, cosmetologists can cut. I'm a cutter, but right. But if I always wanted to be a cutter. But for those who don't, they want to braid and they want to, why should they have to go to cosmetology school when there are natural hair selling license and braiding license where you get foundation and the unhealthy natural hair, and
Right.
scalp must that for health and safety and protocols in salons,
Right.
sanitation and sanitizing. You have to understand that you cannot have one without the other, and transferring bacteria and germs, and you have
Right.
to know how not to do those things,
Really important.
right? You have to know where to place your comb and not put it back in the head. all these little things. It's just so automatic when people are styling, but unsanitary and creating scalp disorders and bacteria in the scalp,
Mm-hmm.
and then pressure of styling, different styles. They're all beautiful styles. They're fantastic and creative, but you have to know and have consumer care and to have abundance.
Right.
And that's what we all us. It's all there for us. So
Yeah.
you will more of your community. A lot of clients still go and they still keep inventive. We won't. I have a lot of clients like that now. They to be someone who is now have to restore everybody, team of networks of doctors and trichologists and all of these services to now restore, and the knowledge that are going to help people to grow their hair back to people who are not educated on the techniques and with the hair when it is losing the hair and clients, and the other stylists will tell you too, the other guests that you have on there who actually even have alopecia from wearing one year to promote my business and sell
Right.
hair, and then I had other allergic reactions, times in your life like menopause, right?
Right.
Loss. How do you deal with it, and how do your clients, because you are not a doctor, right? You have to learn to do the same style over, repetitive motion, and tendonitis, and where do you go from there? So
Right.
all of this is education, because you will not know that seborrhea, psoriasis that there are, and the common ones, obviously, is common ones, but there's so many more that, especially in Black women, 75% of Black women now, Black women, 1 in 4 are have alopecia. It's an epidemic now because of the styling that we're doing and the
Yeah.
hair styles that we do, which are beautiful, but we have to know how to apply, install, tension, and when to take it out and how to take it out, right? How to
Yeah.
remove it properly. So all of these things come into play with education, whether you're mentoring under a professional veteran or pro stylist, or you're learning some of it in your your fundamental school, in
Right.
cosmetology school or right out of school, where you're taking classes to understand all these things. This is not a trial and error type of business.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I would not let anybody trial and error on my hair unless you're in a clinic under supervision and somebody is telling you, yes, this is what's going on here and this is what's going on there. So this is very, and now in the times that we are in now, where wearing our hair in its authentic self is so wonderful, and free expression is the times that we're in. Is even more important to have natural hair styling schools available and open, owned by Black men and women who have a, a stake
Right.
in protecting our culture and our hair and our scalp. Because if you're owned by someone else, it's just a money's game, right?
Yeah.
It's about getting them in and out and making the money versus the quality education, and more so getting the exam updated so it has all the textures and all the hair care that must be implemented into the schools. So yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are now. And everybody's braiding, in your house, in your school. And it's not like that hasn't always been, because
Right.
I was doing it in college, but it's the amount, the numbers, it's millions, because, you know, there's just more Z's
Prevalent. Yeah.
and millennials. There's a lot of them, right? So it is where we are now. We have a multitude of the younger generation who are hungry to make their money, and they're moving so fast that they don't take into consideration of the education that they need. And they might be just doing it as a side hustle to
Right.
get where they're going. And some of them continue doing it. But if you don't get your license and you don't get the education, really, you're putting yourself in jeopardy as well as your consumer, because you're taking too many risks. I mean, one day somebody's going to sue you, and then you have no insurance. I mean, it's just so much stuff that goes into it if you want to have longevity. I've been in the business, and I want to say 36, 37 years. And and of course I started out in the beginning without a license. I was doing hair since I was 16,
Right.
13, 16, with clients. I had clients.
Right.
And a major part of me, my decision to not stay in corporate and to go into this path that was pulling me in creative side, was that I was working, I was making more money per day after work,
Right. So your day was extra long.
styling clients, than I was in the day job. So, you know, that wasn't a hard decision to make. It's something that I love to do.
Yes.
And so it made it was an easy choice at that point, when the pros and cons were right in my face, you know. And so we are always going to start out with the creativity of knowing that something is for you and that you love it. And in this business, you have to love what you do. You must love it, because it's not an easy business.
Right.
It's not easy, but everything you love will turn into and flourish always. And there's so many aspects of the business, so many that you can go into. It's not just working in a salon. Obviously, I've done throughout my journey, and even writing and becoming an author, journal, of something that I do. It wasn't, I didn't set a writing. When you journal and you hire to leave something behind in your
Right.
legacy, and you want to educate those who don't understand or don't know,
Right.
and you're an innovator, you're going to choose many paths,
Right. That's very true.
you and the opportunities will be there. For me, I always had several opportunities at once. It's which one, which path am I going to go down? Because I like doing all of them, but which ones are going to be be careers
Right.
and which ones are going to be, you hobbies
Yeah. Yeah.
or, something else. There's so many opportunities and so many.
Well, for everyone who has listened here, so we will put the link to both the Simply Beautiful brands and the National Hairstyling and Braiding Coalition on screen for the videos and also in the show notes for the audio version of this so that you could, everyone who has interest in this subject can, if you are a consumer, take that survey. If you are interested in it as a professional, take that survey. Let's get the data for our community and let's make some changes. Yeah. Diane, I can't thank you enough for your time. This
Yeah,
has
we definitely.
been such a great conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and reminiscing, going down memory lane. But so much more is coming,
Yeah, so
and
much more is coming.
in
This
your
is just
next,
this
the
is the
next,
first conversation,
the ladies. Yeah.
first conversation of many.